Right. So there is some Iranian movie that I would want people to watch. It is, I mean, if you're into watching foreign films, so I love watching foreign films with subtitles. Of course, I don't understand many languages, but I love watching subtitles. And I mean, I love watching films through subtitles, and I also like observing the body language because sometimes you don't need to understand the language that much. You can just observe and understand. So there's one movie called A Separation by Asghar Farhadi. So he's a very famous Iranian filmmaker, and I love that movie. I love the way I kind of I'm drawn to domestic stories. I don't know why, families and stuff about home, all of that. So I really like that, especially because it covered class very well. Again, it's as you said, there are certain themes which keep coming up. So I love stories about home, about class, where they explore class differences very well. And this was a different culture, right? This is in Iran, so it was very interesting to see that. Um, so that's one film. Another, I have this book beside me. I keep rereading it. It's The Revolutionary Road by Richard Yates. So it's a movie also by the famous Titanic couple. So it became huge, right? I mean, adaptations don't usually make it that big, but then this is a very famous adaptation. But I want people to read it or watch it because again, it's about this family. It's about these interesting dynamics between the husband and wife, and all of that. So that's another one. Another book that I already recommend is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. So if you like sci-fi, if you like speculative fiction, it's not really speculative fiction because that turns off certain other readers who don't like sci-fi. It is a very, very interesting story about three friends, actually. It is just about that. It's about friendship. It's about love. It's about very ordinary things that, people can relate to. So I like that. I don't think any other. Yeah, I have another book by my table. This is The Sense of an Ending by Julian Barnes. Again, an amazing book. Wow, like this, I was totally mind blown by his use of language and philosophy and all of that. And it's a very thin book. I mean, you could finish it like quickly. So I'll recommend these. Of course, I have like a huge list, but right now I think these are my top recommendations. But apart from these, Abhishek, what I recommend everyone is to read and watch South Asian work, right? Indian writers, Indian works, because if you keep reading white authors, if you keep reading only Booker Prize winners or all these things, you won't really understand how your culture, how your identity can come into play, right? So to just give you a very simple example, I grew up playing with Barbie dolls, right? And Barbie dolls back then were white, they had blonde hair. And I always felt, why do I look different from these? Like, I just kind of thought, like, I should look blonde when I saw these dolls, And now I'm so happy to see that, like, Barbie has evolved, right? The franchise, you can see dolls of various ethnic um, experiences. So yeah, I think the world has kind of improved, stepped in the right direction. So yeah, I would recommend people reading South Asian authors. And for recommendations, you can definitely check out the podcast, like you mentioned, Books and Beyond with Bound. We've interviewed lots of Indian writers, Pakistani writers as well. So yeah.